Okay, it's practitioner CEO with Cindy Gallagher. Cindy, thank you so much for doing this, as always.
Anytime, Seth.
So, you and I figured it might be a good idea to take a moment and go through the who, what, where, when, why, and how of upskilling and reskilling in the fourth industrial revolution. We do a lot of talking about the talent and how we are absolutely putting them in a position to upskill and reskill and be just better and more. So this is the opportunity to kind of take it down piece by piece to see what they might be missing and what we might be missing.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Absolutely.
So the who is the talent, right?
The who is all of our people, right? All people across the world, right? Whether they're our current employees, future employees, our children, even.
Aha. All right. So global enterprise, current and prospective talent. So that's the who. The what is upskilling and reskilling.
Absolutely. It's as short as that. The what is how are we going to get answering a what question with a how is a little interesting, but the what is getting all of our employees and future employees to have the skills that are needed to survive in the fourth industrial revolution.
There we go. The where is at your enterprise, you being the person that's watching this.
Absolutely.
The when is, of course, now or yesterday, right?
Even better yesterday.
Who, what, where, when. All right, so we're already through to why.
Well, and the why, you and I talk about this often, and in our network, every time we're at an event, we talk a lot about the why, right? To gain efficiencies, to stay relevant. We want our employees to stay involved. We want to make sure we're delivering the right product or service to all of our consumers and stakeholders. That's the why.
Yeah, and so here we are within this conversation. This all feels familiar, and we're all on board. It's the fourth industrial revolution. The bots were coming, and so there was all sorts of fear up and down the organization, from the C-level through top management through to the front lines. And that initial fear has been satiated in that we can now see some results. We're getting some results from automation. Folks have installed RPA. Whether they've gone end to end with their processes or not, that's up to them. But we know that we see value here. We know that we see a path to upskilling and reskilling, and some already have upskilled and reskilled. However, that does bring us to that final question, which is who, what, where, when, why, and how. How much have we been talking about how we actually reskill and upskill the folks that we've got?
We haven't been talking about it at all. We've been so afraid of the why and the what that we haven't even addressed the how. There was so much fear about the robots are coming and what are people going to do in the age of new robots, of new technology. Well, okay, let's move on past that. And I feel like for the most part people have processed that fear. They've moved forward with it. They've said the bots are here. And almost, not quite everyone, but almost everyone is now saying, and there's still a place for the humans, right? I never was one to say that the bots are going to take over every human process. We still need people. We still have cultural empathy tasks that we need to perform. Problem solving, decision making still needs to be there. And I'm hearing more and more about that now from my peers and broader network as well. But the one thing I'm not hearing yet is how are we going to transform our skills, all of our skills included, particularly those of our teammates though. How are we reskilling people? How are we thinking about the tasks that they'll need to do? I think traditional schooling is something that people always default to. And within any corporate enterprise, we default to our traditional learning and development platform. Even at Liberty Source, we rolled out a new learning and development platform this year, which is absolutely needed and absolutely can provide the foundation skills that are needed, but it's not enough. So I would question all other leaders, all other practitioners to say, and then what? Once you have that foundation, how are you continuing to evolve your team? How are you continuing to engage them in the education components that they need What are you doing for on-the-job training? Are you opening up the opportunity for your teammates, your employees to take risks in their learning, right? Learning itself, and anytime I talk to anyone in an academic setting, learning is changing. The way people learn, the way they engage is completely changing. And we need to make sure we're doing that from a practitioner perspective as well.
Yeah, and this all goes back to, stuff that we've done before. So we thought, okay, maybe no more humans. We also thought no more retail shops when Amazon hit the scene. But now, of course, Amazon is opening up physical retail shops. So there goes that.
Fascinating? Yeah, I find that so fascinating.
So in that kind of cycle, when we say, okay, here's what we can automate, here's what we need to automate, but here's what we want to do with the humans, here's what we see for our carbon-based talent. Sure, there's the traditional training path, but then it's now re-looking at what we do from a C-level to a top-level management capacity on bringing that talent forward. Now, there's the Google principle of the 10% of time being focused on completely entrepreneurial type of, how can we innovate activities? Is this a good place for that? Whether we can do 10% or 5% or even 2%, call it an hour a quarter or whatever it is.
Yeah.
What are maybe some of the answers here?
Yeah, there needs to be active engagement. There needs to be a requirement from the leadership team to say, every individual within the organization needs to spend X% of their time. And it could be a different answer for different parts of the organization. It could be a different answer for different people. But you need to set that X% of your time is expected to be spent learning, developing, enhancing your skills in a different way. I also think this is a opportunity for us to revisit and reopen the conversation around human strengths versus weaknesses. In a prior to on world, we could hide weaknesses with really good process documentation, right? You just follow this set of steps and you'll get it all done, no matter what your weaknesses may be. We really need to make sure that we're understanding where people's strengths are and exploiting those strengths and pointing them in a training direction that will help build upon those so that they can be more successful in this next fourth industrial revolution that's happening now.
Yeah, and this brings up a theme that I've been hearing, as I talk with folks like you, which is, some liken it to a football team, a soccer team, which is each player on the field has their own skill set, and that's what we're looking for from each of those players. Maybe in the past we've said everybody kind of has to be X. Whereas in the future, it's no. We only need you to be that whatever a football, a goaltender,
right,
a goalkeeper.
Well, for me, that's a perfect analogy. I was a goaltender, right? Growing up playing soccer, I was the goalie. Put me on the front line and ask me to kick and make a goal. Have a ball kicked at me. I'm in front of that ball every single time. It's very different. Maybe we'll have a ball kicked at me. But hey, like you said, we each have our, and that is absolutely the case in an environment, a professional environment. You could pick a process, even accounts payable processing of an invoice, right? Someone is going to be really fast, really great at key typing, and someone else is going to be really great on the phone. We need to know those, and we need to know those now.
And we need to not only know what those functions are as we speak, but 6, 12, 24, 72 months down the line, this is where we want to be as an enterprise from a top level.
Yeah, this is not a one-time thing. In fact, I was reading an article just yesterday related to, is now the time for us to have suite level learning and development leadership, separate from your traditional HR leadership, right? Your people management, your culture. Do we now need a separate line, C-level line for L&D? And I tend to agree, because we need to put so much focus and emphasis on here. You need to have emphasis on culture. You need to have even more emphasis today on learning, development, and reskilling.
So, you're bringing up a concept which I'm just going to term here for the first time, which is, it's maybe not a revolution. It's the fourth industrial evolution.
Evolution. That's right.
That happened here on the Practitioner CEO.
Right now.
Right now. All right. So there you have it, the who, what, where, when, why, and please don't forget the how. Let's work on the how right now. Cindy, very much appreciate your time. As always, already can't wait for the next one.
Anytime, Seth. I love speaking with you as well. We'll speak soon.